In 2023, as a DoorDash Dasher, how can you actually get the biggest orders? What is that? I'm not talking like $7, $8, $10, $15+ orders. Now, as someone who's driven for DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Amazon, Walmart, most every single app and niche out there in this gig economy since 2015, thousands of trips and transactions, I've done my research. And in this video, specifically for DoorDash, I have an update on how to actually get these orders here in 2023. Firstly, yes, I need to understand there's different demand levels. It's going to vary by marketplace, large, medium, small marketplaces. It's going to vary based on time of day, the day of the week, and seasonality. That, if you didn't know, DoorDash has even reported demand peaks in February and slowly tapers throughout the year. Actually, Uber Eats has said the same. In this video, I want to keep it simple for you. Let's review hotspots, the bonus pay, positioning, and something really interesting that DoorDash actually says. All right, let's look at hotspots first. Now, hotspots on your Dasher app are just showing areas that are busy, but there's actually two different types of hotspots. So per DoorDash, dynamic hotspots are created when a certain restaurant or area currently has a lot of orders. That is good. I want as many options for you as possible. Continuing. Dynamic hotspots will have a red area around it highlighting the full area of busy restaurants and will say, quote, busy hotspot zone at the bottom of the screen. Now, what we teach you here is also to do your market research. You know your marketplace best. I would say, come on, better than an algorithm even. You know your marketplace. So also research your local power strips. Those are areas that are really dense with restaurants. And yes, it could be very similar or the same things as these dynamic hotspots, but I also want you to know the best places to stage, wait, and hopefully get orders. Now, conversely, DoorDash says these historical hotspots are shown as a flame icon without the red area around them and say, quote, previously busy hotspot zone at the bottom of the screen. So that's a leading indicator of a power strip there, but I would compare and contrast those historical hotspots without the red zone to, again, your local market expertise. So how are hotspots going to help you get more orders? So as an independent contractor, you can decline orders that don't make sense, and you should. So if the dollars to mile ratio, what we teach you here, how much am I getting paid for the miles driven, that should be $1.75, ideally. Now, I want you to be at $2 to $3 a mile. So if the gross pay, that flat out pay, the base pay plus promotions plus tips, if that doesn't make sense, it's a decline. If the dollars to mile doesn't make sense, decline. We're talking big orders that satisfy both. Ideally, again, $1.75 plus per mile, and the total pay is very good as well. So the hotspots per DoorDash, the power strips as we call it here, they're areas that are busy, so you should get more offers in these areas. So to get the biggest orders, you need to understand what's the typical average highest paying order. So if I told you, is a $10 order doable in your marketplace? Have you seen any $12, $15, $20+ orders? Because they're out there, $20+, still with a good dollars to mile ratio. What is the average, highest paying order for you? Actually, comment down below. What's kind of the average and then kind of the highest order you've seen? So here's what I would do. You want that top third of orders there, the $12+ orders really. So we do that by declining obviously the lesser orders, but even the so-so and the decent good orders. Because if I can decline a $9 order, then sometimes I can get a $15 order that has the same or sometimes even better dollars to mile ratio. Now I'm going to talk about the bonus pay, the peak pay on DoorDash, and how I would strategically use bonus pay. And you have to consider there is really a risk versus reward with how risky can I be, right? I'm declining the $9 orders, which can have a $2.50 dollars to mile, which is really good. And it really is that risk versus reward. You really need to understand how risky is it to decline the $9 orders in hopes of a $13, $15 run. So bonus pay, the peak pay, the scheduled per delivery bonus pay, in my opinion, I would say is the best bonus pay offer of any side hustle. Why do I say that? Because what I've seen, I've done this in different marketplaces and I've tracked this over years since 2015, 2016, is peak pay seems to be the most consistent and fair bonus pay. So they're not offering you 50 cents an order, because some of these it'll average out to 50 cents extra or $1. So usually during when it's busy, Let me ask you, when is it busy? It's busiest during the lunch and the dinner rush, and even DoorDash says that you can get peak pay that's $1 to $3. Now again, I fully understand some marketplaces are rarely going to see the $3. There's even $4 or $5 peak pay. If you only get $1 peak pay, comment down below. I'd like to compare and contrast that. Because consider this, there's only 3 things, that is it, 3 things that go into your pay as a DoorDash Dasher. It is the base pay, that's DoorDash's contribution, that's $2 to $10 per DoorDash. There's the promotional pay, which is peak pay, or challenges, which are the batched bonus pay offers. Now, DoorDash says it's in a beta. I guess kind of. I've never really seen a lot of challenges, but comment down below if you see challenges. But really, it's just the peak pay. And then there's tips. So let's say you had less bonus pay. I'm telling you from my experience and receiving tips on all of these other platforms, not just DoorDash, is having decent tips and then just the base pay, but really no bonus pay. It's still not going to make you the same kind of money as having that bonus pay. So again, bonus pay is what's going to get you those 12, 15, 18 plus dollar orders, again, if applicable in your markets. Okay, but there are 3 components. There's the base pay, which what goes into that, by the way? So to get $2 to $10, well, how would I get like what, $5 to $8 DoorDash contribution? So Dasher desirability goes into that. So for whatever reason, if a Dasher doesn't want an order request and it's declined, then typically DoorDash is going to bump up that base pay contribution. Not a ton you can do to influence that. We talked about the bonus pay. Now let's talk about tips. So I want you to have really a minimum of what, 60, but ideally 80+% of your customers leaving you a tip. And on my food delivery runs, on any food delivery app, I've always averaged like really 95+% tip frequency. Now, I know it sounds like a broken record, but yes, it depends on the marketplace. It's going to depend on demographic and area of your marketplace. But here's how I strategize for tips. Because again, if you're asking like, well, how does this all mean I'm going to make $12 to $18 orders? It's because they all work together. Higher base pay, hopefully, higher bonus pay, and then the tips. So here's how I strategize tips. If you're not getting enough tips on average, like you're averaging $1 to $2 tips. I mean, my average is around $4, mid $4 an average tip from a customer. And then if you're not getting enough tip frequency, you have to look at number 1, are you doing something? Or is your audience, your demographic doing something? So let's break that down. So I think we all know by now on any of these apps, most of them are contactless. So that means now more than ever, you'll have less face time with the customer. So like this, we will not be able to see the customer and make an impression with customer service to hopefully get a bump in tips. So in my opinion, the only thing you can really do to get higher tips, to encourage that tip, is good communication. And obviously presentation and being professional. But communication, if you're waiting at a restaurant or there's any problems, traffic, and you're sitting in traffic, whatever, communicate it after 10 minutes. You can bump that down if you've been waiting there for 8 minutes. Shoot them a text. If you're in traffic, it's going to be a little bit longer. Just communicate. Say, hey, just want to give you a heads up. I'm on the way, but I just hit traffic. Just want to let you know. Now, on the off chance, if you do have FaceTime with the customer, because I actually like when there's FaceTime with the customer. Now, sometimes it can take a little bit longer if you have to wait for them to come out. Like, hey, I'm just coming down now. So I get that. But common sense things, I would say like eye contact. Don't be like this, like, hey, got your order and you're all kind of shy and stuff. Just be friendly, have the eye contact, smile, be personable. Don't try to force out a conversation. They don't want to talk to you for that long. Just say, hey, got your delivery for you. By the way, this reminds me, speaking of customer service and this face-to-face interaction, what do you do if your customer is kind of combative because you took too long or they feel like their food's not going to be hot enough, what have you? So in our course, Mastering Delivery, we have an entire objection handling worksheet for you with word scripts so you can manage those awkward scenarios. But also, I think that course really accelerates because it goes over the finances as well, where you and I will go over an actual spreadsheet as well as the best practices for any food delivery app. Again, that course is Mastering Delivery. If you just want to know, hey, teach me the best practices, that's linked down below. So nextly, for tip frequency, if you're getting like 30% really or 40%, comment down below. I'm curious. are you getting a low percentage of your customers tipping? What I've done, I did this specifically when I was in San Diego just because it was a bigger marketplace, is I experimented with different market segments. That's how DoorDash breaks down your market. Not one massive marketplace like Uber Eats, for example, but different segments that you drive in. So if you feel like, hey, I think this area of my marketplace is going to tip more and or they're going to tip more often, you can try it. There's going to be different peak pay, so you can experiment with that. There's going to be different power strips, different areas of opportunity in that market segment. And I really enjoyed that, to find different areas to make oftentimes more money than certain other areas that I was used to. So as a review, how does this all work to actually get you the higher paying orders, like $12+ orders? Again, it's because all of this works together. You have to do the little things to best set you up for those big orders. Let's move on. This next thing I feel like is one of the most underrated things, maybe not on the per order basis, but the per hour basis, certainly. And it can eat away at your shift and you don't even realize it. And that is positioning. So for instance, let me show you this order on the new order screen. By the way, click the card above if you haven't seen this screen or if you're not familiar. And or if you just want to optimize and know what to look for on this new screen. Watch that video after this one. But look at this here. So $13 guaranteed. It just says guaranteed. So hopefully we get a customer tip. That's just the new way they're doing it. 8.4 miles. But I really want you to pay attention to positioning. That's our focus right now. So the pickup here is that shopping bag. The ending destination, that customer's location, obviously, is that home icon. So let me just show you kind of what I visualize here. I'm going to add some graphics to this for you. So that ending destination is kind of in a red zone for me per se. It's a little bit further away than my known power strips. Those are areas that are really dense with restaurants, right? Where I can quickly get orders. And then like a yellow zone maybe is here. It's a little bit closer to the city center. So I would have some commuting miles. Commuting miles are just miles you're driving without an assignment. We want to minimize those because that's a straight expense and there's no revenue with that. But the red zone would have a lot more commuting miles to get me in a power strip that I'm comfortable with. Yes, I can experiment, and you might want to experiment with different zones again, just to get comfortable with different areas. But ideally, at least in my marketplace, and this plays different, again, in different marketplaces, because the larger marketplaces will have different green zones based on your research. But for Pittsburgh, I want to really stay in my green zone, because when it comes to positioning, listen to this is very important, is we want to minimize those commuting miles, because then you're driving around. Imagine 5 minutes here, 7 minutes there, 8 minutes there. You're just eating up like 20 minutes in an hour, or 15 minutes in an hour. Maybe you could have squeezed in another run, because I want you to ping pong orders, we call it. So the ending destination, when ideally done, is already in or immediately close to a power strip. So there's next to no commuting miles. So I drop off, I get a ping that's hopefully at a high dollar amount. If it's not, what do? We decline it and we wait for a better order. Again, that risk versus reward, how much we want to decline here. And I'm already off on my next assignment with, again, little to no commuting miles. So as a summary and review, again, as someone who's seen the old screen, the new screen, and compare it to most every single other major food delivery app. So you need to understand the hotspots. They're changing every 10 minutes, by the way, the dynamic hotspots, using your power strips, those are your local knowledge, leveraging the bonus pay, and understanding what's the kind of the low to the average high bonus pay, knowing the positioning versus risk versus reward. So I'm in a good power strip based on all that research. How much can I decline? Can I decline, again, that $9 in hopes of, again, this is your market expertise here, I've seen $12 to $13 orders, or I've even seen $15 to $19+, maybe $20+ orders. And that's going to come from, again, as a summary, all of this working together. The base pay plus the promotional pay. Well, hey, I'm driving on $3, $4 peak pay, so these orders are going to be pretty good. And then the tips. I'm in a zone where I typically do good on tips. Maybe it's a more affluent zone. My average goes from $4 maybe to $6. So yeah, I should be seeing some $13, $15 orders. So do let me know, updated for 2023, if these tips, tricks, and strategies help you out. Comment that down below. Consider subscribing. This is all I do here. I help you make money in different side hustles. Drop a like on this video. You can also click or tap the screen here for my newest video, as well as a video recommended for you. And I'll see you in the next one.